Hello there, my lovelies. Welcome back. We are here today to talk about how Pat McGrath is officially giving us nothing. Like, nothing. And I figure I have to do stuff today, so let's get ready together. So for those unaware, Pat McGrath is a very high-end luxury brand. I mean, one of her palettes, I believe, is going for like $100. She's most known for her Mothership palettes, and those things are expensive, in my opinion, for kind of like no real reason. Like, they're good, but you can find good stuff with those kind of like special, like, I think she does some duochromes and multi-chromes. Ooh, this is in advance, but I just hit pan. The pan that palette went live last Sunday, so make sure to check that to see which one it was, but I just hit pan, and that's super cool. Second pan of 2024. Anyways, she does really high-end palettes that are like $100 each, and in my opinion, I've never tried them, so I can't say if they're worth it, but they don't feel worth it because they're all the same. Like, I know there are some people who will spend $100 on an eyeshadow palette, but I feel like it should be one eyeshadow palette, and people are collecting these things. They are spending hundreds upon hundreds of dollars to buy these palettes, to buy all of them. And they are like, I think like the first four were all very innovative. I'm not a huge Pat McGrath person, so I can't say for sure which ones, like up to what number, but the recent ones, I think she launches like one every single year, and the recent ones have just been sad and disappointing, and it's like, why are you charging people so much and launching the exact same palette? And this is really angering me right now because she recently launched a brand new quad, and I think it's either all of the shades or 3 of the shades are the exact same shade from the Christmas launch that happened 2 months ago. Like, tell me that you have too much overstock without telling me that you have too much overstock. And here's the thing, I can like vaguely understand launching similar palettes if that's like your brand identity, but that was not the brand's identity. The whole thing was to launch this creative makeup, and the makeup is not that anymore. I think at the beginning it was super creative, but now it's just not creative anymore. Like, ignore the baby sounds. Like, it was, those palettes, they used to be innovative. They used to be creative. I can remember, well, I can't remember it, but I've seen the old palettes. They are really good. I mean, I wouldn't buy them because if I'm gonna spend that much money on a makeup palette, I'm gonna buy from an indie brand and give it to people who this is their livelihood. Like, yes, it's Pat McGrath's livelihood, but Pat McGrath is huge. She does not need my money, but a lot of these other people, they do need my money. Well, I'm not saying they need it, but like, I would feel better spending 80 bucks buying 2 palettes from an indie brand than I would buying 1 palette from Pat McGrath. You know, it's kind of how I feel about Natasha Denona. If I'm gonna spend that much money, I'm gonna go to a brand where I can feel really good about supporting them, and I can be like, this is someone's passion that I'm funding, and maybe they do not have as many people who are willing to fund that passion, you know? Maybe they just don't have the reach, they don't have the social media presence. That's kind of how I feel, you know? Like, I have a whole bunch of those palettes. I'm like, dude, let me get my savings account up and then I will buy from you. And also let me use some of the eyeshadow I already own, and then I will buy from you. But back onto the talk about not Natasha. That's actually one that I don't think she's doing this. I don't think Natasha Denona is doing this. I think she's launching like some repeat things, but it's not as bad as Pat McGrath, because if you are literally launching the exact same shades in different palettes, like, I don't think that in itself is a problem, but you need to be very open and transparent and say, look, these are all repeat shades. It shouldn't be other people are digging and finding out that these are repeat shades. You should be saying this shade has appeared in another palette. All right, sorry, my sister is at work, not at work. She's getting her eyebrow pierced because she had to take it out, and then she couldn't get it re-pierced when she was pregnant. Whole thing, but she's been wanting it for a while, and so I was like, yeah, of course, I will watch your baby so that way you don't have to take her to the piercing salon, you know? So she's just on my bed. All of her sheets, all like literally I have my sheets and my blankets in the wash, so she's perfectly safe on there. She can't roll, so she's fine. Nobody get angry. But in my opinion, if you are doing repeat shades, I do not think that's a problem, but you need to be very transparent. And I think you need to list the eyeshadow palettes and say, yeah, if you have these 4 eyeshadow palettes, you don't need to buy these. And in my opinion, this brand has enough funds to do that. And if I seem angry, that's because I am angry, because I don't know, I'm kind of one of those people where I do not really see the point of like standing a brand and buying every single thing that a brand releases. I'm not for that life. I don't know, I mean, there are brands that I like and there are brands that I really want to support, so I will buy a lot of their releases. I'm not gonna buy every single release that they do though, because what's the point, you know? And is this the right, yeah, this is the right brush. And like, I'm not shaming anyone who does collect the Mothership palettes or does collect her quads, but if you are doing that, I do have to ask you why. Because at a certain point, you are just getting repeat shades, and if you are someone who maybe buys a lot of singles, I think it's not a problem to do a repeat, you know, like if you're someone who actually feasibly goes through makeup, there's nothing wrong with like buying repeats. I think the problem is that nowadays in today's society, with how much we consume, we as a society, as a collective, are not buying repeat eyeshadow shades, you know? And it's like, I don't even want anyone to be saying like, I guess there are some people who go through eyeshadow palettes, but I'm sorry, if you have a beauty channel, you are not going through eyeshadow palettes unless your content is panning. I do not want to be the bearer of bad news. There are some people where they're like, I've used this so much, and it's like, buddy, you haven't even showed pan. I will show this to you because pre-filming. This is my favorite eyeshadow palette. I would not even say that this is so used. I have 5 visible pans, and then this is actually 3 eyeshadow palettes, not 3 eyeshadow palettes, 3 eyeshadows that I repressed into one, so they all had massive pans on them, and then I repressed them. This I would not even call super used. I would call this moderately used. Yes, if I were to have pan in every single shade, I would call it super used. I'm not calling it super used though, because I do not have pan in every single eyeshadow. So when I see people being like, oh, I use like this eyeshadow palette so much, and it's like, I've had it for years, I just think it has so much usage. Are you really using it that much if there was not a single eyeshadow pan? See, even my 2-month-old niece is like, that's some BS, Pat. Because it is. Literally, like, I don't think it's scamming people, but it's not right. It's just, it's like, I could understand if it was a discontinued release, be like, hey, these shades were really popular, so I decided to bring them back in this quad because you can no longer get it. And I could understand if it was forever ago, but I'm fairly positive her Christmas collection is still available. Honest to God truth, I think there was an order like F up, and they ordered X amount too much of these 4 shades, and they were like, okay, what can we put it together with? And then they probably, here's the thing, the packaging does not match the inside. Okay, it's like blue and red and black, and the palette is like pink and gold, like Pat McGrath, you know? My theory is that they screwed up and they did, like, they had this packaging and they were like, okay, well, let's not make new shades. Let's just put these excess shades into this new packaging because it does not match. I honestly believe someone effed up and they were like, we can fix this. Like, honest to God, I firmly believe that somebody messed up and ordered too much stock of one thing And then the entire brand was just like, we will just put it into another palette. I firmly believe that's what happened. I know I've heard some people say there is like a lack of communication between the design team with like packaging and product. That could also be it, because I don't think that, and honestly, I kind of feel like none of their packaging ever really matches, because, you know, they'll do like those like really, really fancy boxes and stuff. And I kind of have never really thought that they match color story wise. I I don't want to crap on Pat McGrath too much. They're not for me. I don't believe they do the greatest job with color stories now. I think I've actually heard rumors that maybe Pat McGrath isn't as involved as she used to be, which I think that could be understandable. I do think sometimes founders leave brands and things go downhill. I mean, apparently we saw that with Bobby Brown. Wasn't around during that time, but I don't know. I really think it could be any of those things. And yeah, I am fascinated, like, not fascinated. I'm excited to see what comes next. Because I feel like if it's not something fun, people are going to revolt. Like, this is, I really feel like beginning to be like the last straw for a lot of people and a lot of big fans of the brand too. Like, a lot of them are starting to be like, I'm done. I'm sick of it. I am so tired of her just releasing the exact same thing over and over and over again. And yeah, that is kind of my opinions. I don't think it's right to do this, because to the best of my knowledge, I could be wrong. Tell me if I'm wrong. I do not believe they made it a known thing that they were repeat shades. I believe someone actually like posted this on like YouTube or TikTok or Instagram or something and said, these are repeat shades. Y'all are borderline scamming us. Like, again, I don't want to call it like a complete scam, because I don't think it is, but it was definitely a borderline scam. Popping in here real quick before the end, just to say that this was the finished look, because I was busy feeding a baby, so I couldn't say that in the middle. And with that, my lovelies, I shall leave you guys. I have a very busy week next week, so I got to get out on schoolwork. I have to make all sorts of content. Yeah, that's gonna be my day. It's already 3, so I don't know how much I'm gonna get done. I have a feeling I don't work tomorrow, which I'm so grateful for, and I don't work Sunday either, so I'm also going to go to church for the first time in like quite possibly 6 months. Like, that wasn't a Christmas Eve service, so I'm excited just for this weekend, having it off, and yeah, gonna get a ton of filming done, and I will see you guys next time. I would wave goodbye, but I'm holding a baby bottle, so goodbye.